A World Cup champion, down 2-0 with 11 minutes left, comes back to win. Fans called it magic, but federal agents in the United States are calling it something very different. Right now, the FBI is investigating the very same football federation that just knocked Egypt out of the 2026 World Cup. Over $300 million in mysterious money transfers. At the same time, referees are handing Argentina one favorable call after another. Coaches are accusing FIFA of bias. And an entire refereeing crew from Argentina was assigned to officiate a match involving Argentina's biggest rival. Is this the greatest comeback story in football? Or the greatest cover-up? The answer is far more complicated than most fans realize. If you love sports stories, documentaries, and untold moments from the world of sports, make sure to subscribe to Sports Arena. This is the story of Argentina's 2026 World Cup campaign. A run so controversial that opposing coaches are publicly accusing referees of bias, that rival federations are filing official complaints with FIFA, and that a federal investigation is now shadowing the reigning world champions on their path toward the final. This story matters because it touches everything fans care about: trust in the sport, the integrity of the world's biggest tournament, and whether money and power can quietly shape outcomes on the biggest stage in sports. But here's what almost nobody is talking about. The scandal didn't start on the pitch. It started years earlier in a very different kind of investigation. And by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly how those two stories collided. The comeback that started it all. It happened in Atlanta. Argentina, the defending champions, found themselves down 2-0 against Egypt in the round of 16. For most of the match, Egypt looked like they were about to pull off the upset of the tournament. Then in the final quarter of the game, everything changed. A VAR review wiped out what would have been Egypt's second goal, ruling there had been a foul in the build-up. Minutes later, a potential penalty for Egypt, after contact between Mohamed Salah and an Argentine defender, was waved away as normal play. Argentina fought back, and in stoppage time, Enzo Fernandez scored the winner. Final score, 3-2. On the surface, it looked like a legendary comeback. But almost immediately, Egypt's head coach stood in front of the cameras and said something no one expected. He didn't just say his team lost. He said his team had been cheated, and that there may have been pressure on the referee to keep Argentina alive in the tournament. That single sentence lit a fire that spread across the entire football world within hours. What would you have done if you were that coach, standing there after your team's World Cup dream just ended? Let us know in the comments. But this was only the beginning. The pattern nobody could ignore. If the Egypt match had been an isolated incident, it might have faded from the headlines within a day. But fans and journalists quickly started connecting it to something that happened earlier in the tournament. During Argentina's group stage opener, Lionel Messi scored a hat trick, but midway through the match, he made a reckless studs-up challenge on the opposing captain. In real time, it looked serious enough for a straight red card. No card was shown. VAR reviewed it. No card was shown then either. The opposing federation was furious enough to lodge a formal complaint with FIFA, calling the decision inconsistent with how other players had been treated in the same tournament. Fans began pointing to a separate incident involving an American player who received an immediate red card for a far less controversial-looking challenge just days earlier. A decision that was so contested it eventually drew comment from the highest levels of political power in the United States. Suddenly, viewers everywhere were asking the same question: was there a different set of rules for Argentina? Then came the moment that turned suspicion into outrage. Ahead of a quarterfinal match involving one of Argentina's fiercest football rivals, FIFA announced its officiating crew for the game, and every single official, all 5 of them, were from Argentina. It was the first time in the entire tournament that one nation's officials had been assigned to handle an entire match on their own. Given the history between these two footballing nations, and given that Argentina were considered the biggest threat to reach the final, the appointment sparked immediate backlash across European media. FIFA insisted the officials had been selected purely on merit, but almost nobody outside FIFA's own offices believed that explanation was the full story. Do you think a coincidence like that could really happen by accident? Or do you think something deeper was going on? We want to know what you think. If you're enjoying this story so far, don't forget to subscribe, because we cover the biggest sports scandals and untold stories in the world of sports every single week. The investigation happening far from the stadium. Here's where the story takes a turn that almost no casual fan saw coming. While all of this was unfolding on the pitch, a completely separate crisis was quietly building off the pitch, one that had nothing to do with referees or VAR at all. Reports began surfacing that the United States Federal Bureau of Investigation had opened a preliminary investigation into the Argentine Football Association itself. The focus wasn't match outcomes, it was money. Investigators were reportedly examining more than $300 million that had moved through the American financial system, tied to the Federation's commercial operations in Miami. Some of that money reportedly went to companies with unclear purposes. Some went to people connected to the Federation's own leadership. Investigators wanted to know whether any of it violated U.S. laws around money laundering or bank fraud. This wasn't the first red flag either. Months earlier, back home in Argentina, federal police had already raided the Football Federation's headquarters and several affiliated clubs as part of a separate domestic investigation into alleged financial irregularities. Almost nobody watching the matches on television knew that this legal storm was building in the background. While millions of fans were focused on Messi's pursuit of history, a completely different kind of scrutiny was closing in on the organization behind the team. To be clear, this financial investigation was preliminary. No charges had been filed. Nothing connected it directly to what was happening with referees on the field. But the timing was impossible to ignore, and it added fuel to an already burning fire of public suspicion. Who do you think holds more responsibility here? The Federation's finances, or the officiating on the pitch? Let us know your theory in the comments. But the real question still hadn't been answered. So was IT actually rigged? This is where most viral posts and headlines get it wrong, and this is where we have to be honest with you. Despite everything, the controversial VAR calls, the missing red cards, the all-Argentine officiating crew, the viral outrage online, there has been no proven evidence of actual match fixing. FIFA's own refereeing chief publicly defended every one of the contested decisions, walking through the reasoning behind each call and insisting the officials operated independently. He even warned that reckless accusations of corruption could put referees and their families at risk. The truth sits in an uncomfortable middle ground. On one side, there is a legitimate, ongoing financial investigation into the Federation's business dealings, a real story with real stakes still unfolding. On the other side, there is a string of officiating decisions that, whether through genuine inconsistency or unfortunate coincidence, all seem to break in Argentina's favor at the exact moments that mattered most. Was it a conspiracy? There's no confirmed proof of that. Was it a pattern serious enough to make fans, coaches, and federations lose trust in the world's biggest tournament? Absolutely. And that in many ways is the more disturbing story. Not a smoking gun, but a slow erosion of belief in the fairness of the game itself, happening in plain sight, match after match, while the world's biggest stars kept scoring goals as if nothing was wrong. Would this World Cup run still be remembered as legendary if none of these controversies had happened? We'd love to hear your honest opinion below. So, did Argentina cheat their way through the 2026 World Cup? The honest answer is this: nobody has proven match fixing. But what we do know is that a legendary football nation walked through this tournament trailed by a federal financial investigation, a wave of officiating controversies, and a level of public suspicion rarely seen at a World Cup. Remember how we started this video, asking whether this was the greatest comeback in football history or something far murkier. The truth is, it might be both. A team capable of magic on the pitch, wrapped inside an organization now facing very real questions off it. The lesson here isn't really about Argentina. It's about how easily trust in sport can be shaken, not always by proof, but by pattern, timing, and silence from the people with the power to explain themselves. So we'll leave you with this. If the world's biggest football tournament can generate this much doubt, how much do we really know about what happens behind the scenes of every major sporting event we watch? Subscribe to Sports Arena for more incredible sports stories, rise and fall documentaries, business breakdowns, and untold moments from the world of sports. Coming up next, we're diving into the untold financial empire behind FIFA itself.